Welcome back. Feroze Azeez is joined CEO Anand Rathi Wealth, and he joins us on the show right now. Feroze, hi, thank you so much for joining in. Was looking forward to a reaction from you from the Amphi data, which shows that gold and silver together at 33,000 crores of an inflow have not just outperformed equity, but made a new record as well.
Absolutely, Manisha. Yeah, that's the recency bias talking. Of course, January has been a month where silver and gold both touched historic highs, both in Indian rupee and in the Chicago Mercantile Exchange. So I think that's one of the core reasons. And the unfortunate part is people generally buy at peaks. Of course, today gold prices are at about 5,000, 5,050 in terms of dollars. But I think that's a great news. As long as I think we did a show in NSE a few months back where I was saying that you should stagger and move your debt monies to gold, not one shot. I think it'll be more encouraging if people staggered and bought gold. Silver is not an asset at all currently. The volatility it throws up on an Excel sheet is 85 standard deviation is what the standard deviation is for the last 6 months, and Nifty's realized standard deviation is 13. So you have to wait till the gamma traders quit silver for you to see it as a metal. Currently, the underlying is in the hands of algo traders, is why the volatility is of this kinds. Almost 85% standard deviation is what Nifty threw up during COVID's last month, or the first month of COVID being broken up.
Feroze, I was just looking at the data, and when you look at the numbers, well, I'm looking at from August onwards, it was 2,000 crores, 4,000 crores. November was redemption, net inflows even. Last month was 11,000 crores, and now 24,000 crores for the month of January. I get your point when you say that, yes, we were making all-time highs, and HNIs, ultra HNIs, institutions, and then retail, some of them perhaps got on the higher side of the range they're in. But with the kind of volatile moves that we're looking at in the month of Feb, would you say it's difficult to see that pattern continue? Do you see more redemptions come in?
I think redemption, on the other hand, would be extreme. I think the flows have peaked out. Because when the last leg of rally, where every day you miss out of 2-3%, is when the FOMO is at the peak. Once that asset shows, like gold showed one day of 12% fall, 11% fall. Of course, it recovered from the lows of 4,458, which it went to. But once you get such kind of a day in the whole rally, it breaks the momentum. So I don't know about redemptions, but the net flows of this kind continuing in February is very unlikely in my judgment.
Just for the sake of an understanding, why would you see equities slow down? Because that is a trend that we saw in the previous month, and Jan is the second straight month of that.
Yes, so I think, equities, I look at equities into two parts. One is the retail, one is the HNI. The SIP number you see gradually inching up, and that's what is the right barometer of what the masses are thinking. HNI money has been very, very volatile, one, and it has done exactly the opposite of what was needed. You look at April when Trump started this whole tariff liberation day and so on and so forth. That was the month when Nifty touched 22,200. It closed at 22,200. It went to 21,700 on that day when NASDAQ was down 10%. That month was the month where was the best month for somebody to buy in the financial year so far. But that month, HNIs redeemed. So the net flow was even lower than the SIP number. So coming to why is it happening in the equity? If you bifurcate equity flows into two parts, the actual barometer of what is the awam or janta thinking, that's more the SIP way. And the HNI is always acting with recency bias, and I don't blame them, because if there's a 100 crore portfolio swinging 3 crores a day, it becomes very emotionally difficult to compartmentalize risk and emotional behavior. So I'm very, very hopeful, and I personally think that you will again end the SIP number this financial year at the peak. And somewhere in the next year, you will also see 40,000 crores as an SIP number. I had projected 50,000 crores per month for FY28. I think that seems to be happening.
All right. I just want to take a step back, come back to gold and silver. For the longest time, it has been a physical buy and the financialization not so much. And as you yourself said, that silver is not even an asset class the way the volatility has continued to be. But given the way, the kind of backdrop that the international markets throw at us, geopolitics still there, trade and tariffs still on, the kind of statements that we hear from US are keeping the markets quite volatile. And then the debasement theory, you also have high global debt and therein. Would you say, even if not so much and not so great in sense of numbers, the buying in perhaps precious metals could just about continue?
I couldn't agree with you, Manisha, that the precious metal will continue, buying will continue. The solidity of that will depend on two, three things. What happens in a gamma trade is, see, the underlying is irrelevant to an algorithm. Like some months back, SEBI took an action on an FII to act in the bank Nifty. So that FII was not concerned whether it's bank Nifty, Fin Nifty, whatever that is. Whenever you can trap the gamma and create a gamma squeeze, then the algorithm does that. So having said which, precious metal buying will continue, will start moving the base higher and higher, but there will be exaggerated moves, just like one day on 11 September 2025, I was incidentally in the US, Oracle as a stock went up 42% on one result. And added some $300-400 billion in a night. That was not, and it came back to reality. That was a gamma squeeze. One day, Infosys ADR went up 35% when we were sleeping. That was again a gamma squeeze. So what I'm trying to again allude to is gradually buying will come, the true buying will come, and these algorithms will start getting lesser interested over periods of time on the specific underlying. Today, you see US houses, companies which own only crypto. Their innovation is so good that they've tried to divert equity money into crypto. So coming back, yes, I concur.
Okay. Feroze, it's always a pleasure speaking with you, but we've completely run out of time. So I think we'll take this conversation to MF Corner soon. But thank you so much for joining in, Manisha, and thank you for taking us through this conversation. Very important numbers when it comes to the surge we've seen in gold and silver ETF flows.